So, so take the jump then is so you've all seen the hopefully seen something from the website, and you've become sort of interested and aware in what Take the Jump is. So I'll just give you a very brief overview in this presentation. First of all, to say that it is a global initiative, right? So although we've sort of taken it and started running with it here in New Zealand, it's coming from a sort of UK-centered movement or campaign that started probably over 2 years ago now, and has say they've reached through their website and social media, and so reached about 2.5 million people around the world, and thousands of people have taken the jump, have got involved so far already. It's gone furthest in the UK, but there are groups and sort of movements up and running in Germany now. There's others in France and getting organized in the US and Canada and so on as well. And New Zealand, we're probably more advanced than any other country outside the UK in where Take the Jump is going. So yeah, so that's where we're sort of in the global landscape, as it were. So what you may have seen from the website is basically it's sort of a science evidence based campaign identifying 7 of these lifestyle shifts that we can make that will be most efficient, most effective in reducing our carbon emissions. So the idea is to, and many of you, I think, probably already from sort of the environmental perspective, are already doing quite a lot of these things. So we've got, I'll just run briefly through the 7 shifts. So the first one is about ending clutter. So trying to keep products for longer, especially your electronics products, so that we're not going out to replace our smartphones every 18 months or something, but trying to keep them. And the aim is for at least 7 years, if possible, which may be a stretch for some products, but that's sort of the objective if we can. Holiday local, which is basically to try and reduce flying as much as possible. So especially for discretionary sort of leisure flights, try to be strategic. I know that here in New Zealand, a lot of us have got family overseas, and that's important. But we need to be strategic and think, if we do fly, then let's spend longer, make the most of those occasions when we do. And meanwhile, let's explore New Zealand and discover as much as we can about our local area. So holiday local is another big sort of thrust of the campaign. Eat green, in other words, trying to move away from so much meat consumption, especially beef and sheep meat, beef and lamb, which are the ones that produce most of the methane. So a more plant-based diet. And again, it's a question of degree, of moving sort of step by step in that direction. And we're not saying give up meat completely in one fell swoop, but let's try and move towards something that's a bit more plant-based, using local foods, growing your own, composting, and so on. And I'm sure many of you are already involved with that already. Dress retro. Okay, so this is trying to get away from fast fashion, purchasing less new clothes and taking advantage of the amazing sort of networks of op shops that we've got here in New Zealand. And that's sort of quite a social activity as well, to go op shopping. And so that's the sort of aim here, or the objective is to try and get down to purchasing no more than 3 new items of clothing per year. That doesn't include underwear or shoes, but 3 main items of clothing per year. If you can limit to that, that would really make a difference in terms of carbon emissions. Okay, travel fresh is around moving away from using the car where possible, walking, biking, take public transport. Here in Nelson, we're lucky to have a new e-bus network that's really made a huge difference, and sort of networks of bike paths, bike trails, and so on. So it's become a lot more feasible in the last couple of years to move around by bike or bus. And so obviously in some areas that's not possible, especially in rural areas, but where you can, that's a sort of an important objective. System change is one where, okay, this is not just our personal actions, but where we can start to influence what government, councils, and businesses do. And so what we can do to nudge the system. Some important sort of areas of that is where's your KiwiSaver invested? What sort of fund and how climate friendly is that? And there's some easy ways to start to investigate that and to make some changes if you want to. Look at where your energy supplier is, and also sort of submissions to council, to government are also another sort of aspect of that, and protest. Getting involved in more direct action if that's your thing. And the final one of Get Planting is a bit different. This is where it's not so much reducing carbon emissions per se, but encouraging sequestration. And it creates the link with the other sort of crisis we've got around biodiversity and conservation here in New Zealand. So it's more than just Get Planting. It's everything around protection of biodiversity. And this is one that we've added here for New Zealand. It's not in the global campaign, but we think it's important and makes a link to our natural environment that's very important for us here. Okay, so the sort of getting involved with Take the Jump in the first place, it's through the website. You can sign up, say, yeah, I'm going to start doing something in this area, maybe focus on 1 or 2 shifts to start with, and for 1 or 3 or 6 months, say, yeah, I make a commitment to do something, just start. Up on the website,